All right, can you guys hear me okay? Wonderful. Well, thank you for having me and for this amazing meal. That really hit the spot. I'm Chris Greene. As Beth said, I'm the CEO of Meds and Food for Kids. So we are a 501c3 in the States that works really in the sector of humanitarian aid, really the nexus of humanitarian aid and development, which we'll talk about in a minute. And our focus is on reaching children that are 6 months to 2 years of age that are severely malnourished. So I'm going to start off, just tell you a little bit about our organization, what we do, and then I'll end with hopefully a few minutes in case there's any questions. We can do a little Q&A before I hand it over. So Meds and Food for Kids, we were founded a little over 20 years ago in St. Louis by a pediatrician, Dr. Patricia Wolf. And she just began traveling to Haiti on short-term mission trips and saw that there was just this incredible need. And most of you are probably familiar. Haiti just, sits a couple-hour plane ride off the Florida coast. I mean, it is close, and it could not be more of worlds apart, the realities that people are living in, right? I tell people, I'm like, if you haven't had the chance to travel abroad, especially in a developing country, you really don't know how blessed we are. And I mean, in our darkest, hardest days, we are blessed, right? I like to give people perspective. I lived in Haiti for 8 years. So nice, always hot, always humid, tropical weather. And 8 years had no hot water and no air conditioning, right? So it is and I was living better than most, right? It's a tough spot. So we were founded, let me see here. We were founded, I said, 20 years ago. And really what we've done is we've evolved as an organization over time. What we began to transition to is to say, hey, we see that there's these babies. We've got to do something about them. But we also need to look at the systems, the underlying reasons why are people facing poverty, right? Because, people in Haiti are no different than people here in Illinois. Being hungry isn't on your check, mission accomplished, I don't have food today. Everybody wants an opportunity for work. Everybody wants an opportunity to send their kids to school. Everyone wants an opportunity to be able to feed themselves, right? Doesn't matter where you are in the world. So we've taken sort of a broader holistic approach, and I'm going to get into that. But first, let's talk about the situation in Haiti. It's a country of about 11.5 million people. Currently, there are nearly 6 million of those people are living in severe food insecurity or acute food insecurity. Haiti has to import over 50% of its food, which is a staggering amount of food. You probably have seen in the news, unfortunately, it's a country that is plagued right now by we've been in a state of an interim government for almost 5 years now. And that I can tell you is not functioning particularly well. The capital city of Port-au-Prince, I think the most recent numbers are that 90% of that city is controlled by gangs at this point. There is no military in Haiti. The police are there. They are courageous, but they are under-equipped, under-trained. And so it's a really difficult situation. And the estimates are right now that there's between 100 and 200,000 children suffering from severe acute malnutrition. So what does that mean? We're really talking about, we're talking about babies that are 6 months to 2 years of age. The reason why we work with these children, if you know anything about childhood nutrition, I talk to people who aren't as familiar and they think, okay, you're born, you're a human being, you just grow up. But in reality, from birth till about 2 years of age, your brain, your mind is still creating the fundamental hardwiring that it will operate on for the rest of your life. So if we were to become severely malnourished right now, it would be rough. We could face some challenges, but the reality is once we get that nourishment we need, we're going to bounce back. We're going to be okay. But at 8 months old, when your brain is creating all that hardwiring, if you don't have the nutrition that you need, your ceiling is forever impacted, right? Because I think the number is up until 2 years old, a baby's brain is forming 1 million synaptic connections a minute. After 2, it drops down to closer to about 10,000. So this is huge, right? So we want to reach these babies because at 2 years old, you need that because it's going to affect, it's going to affect your job opportunities, your education opportunities, your socio, like your place in society. So here's a story of Gedson. Gedson came to one of our clinics. He was 2 years old. He weighed, when he came to our clinic, 16 pounds. You can see he's severely malnourished. He was suffering from a chronic fever. And unfortunately, his parents didn't have the resources to be able to help him. A little backstory there too. Oftentimes what will happen is, you're a family, you have limited resources. And what happens is one of your babies gets sick with something, right? Gets an infection, maybe a parasite sets in. You don't know. So you're trying to feed this baby, you're trying to do what you can, but their weight keeps decreasing and decreasing and decreasing. Most people in this room have probably had kids or had nieces and nephews. I have a 2.5-year-old, and I think about this all the time, that I cannot imagine being in a place where my little baby is screaming because she is hungry and I cannot feed her. I cannot satisfy that. And she eventually stops screaming because she gets to the place where she's so malnourished, the energy that it takes to be able to vocalize her hunger, she doesn't have the ability to do that. No kid, regardless of where you're from, I like to tell people, regardless of whatever the mom and dad did or didn't do, no baby should have to bear that, right? So Gedson came into our clinic, 16 pounds. We began immediately to put him on this treatment. So we create a ready-to-use therapeutic food. We manufacture that in Haiti. We have a staff of 88 people, all local. We manufacture this product. We distribute it. Little Gedson receives it. He takes this product, and typically within 8 or 10 weeks, so in his case, it was about 10 weeks, he went from being 16 pounds to what we see here at 24 pounds, right? Back to being a healthy, and you can see the color of your skin changes. If you've ever seen a severely malnourished child, many times they'll get a little bit of red in the hair. The color of your hair is restored. My wife managed a clinic in Haiti for many years, and she would have kids that would come in, sometimes as old as actually 3 and 4 years old, not walking and not talking. And typically within 5 weeks of being on a product like this, they are speaking and walking, because that's the difference that malnutrition makes, right? So this is just one example of a baby whose life was completely turned around. Let's see. Let's see if I can bring this video up. There we go. I want to share with you.
My energy bill dropped from $150.
How you can drop your energy bill from $150. It's very easy. Let's see if I can skip this advertise. All right, I'm here, but how do I present? I see it on my screen. I told him this was happening. He said, it's all working perfectly. You're going to have no problems. I said, that always is the case until. So here I am. How do I get from here to there?
Yeah, because we're sharing the PowerPoint, not this.
So I'm just going to Zoom share. Right here.
See, okay, at that.
We're going to get there. Not quite.
Because the PowerPoint's up. That's
okay.
Kind of.
Let me try one more thing. Or do you want to do it?
Yeah. Sure. You're probably, you know what they're doing. Samples because PowerPoint takes over everything.
I wonder if I can just. All right. Well, maybe I'm gonna have to keep talking. Maybe we can figure the video out. Maybe we can. Let's see here. So why don't I'm gonna jump ahead of this video and tell you a little bit about what makes us different while we're doing some,
So this is right up our website, right?
yeah, when I clicked on the link, it opened up the page.
Okay, so.
Oh, there you are. You're on the screen. Figured it out.
Just click on there.
Yeah,
All right.
Had to come up here.
the PowerPoint.
And this mom's back in northern Haiti. You see for the sterile environment inside. That was a person. And this is observable hope amidst the chaos that is here, Haitian police on that saves lives. A therapeutic cleanup paste to bring children back from the brink of starvation.
What weird, how regimented they are about their procedure, because this is medicine.
This is where you add all of the vitamins and the micronutrients. Each bucket should have the exact quantity.
Remington Tower is the chief operating officer for Meds and Food for Kids, MFK.
Okay, watch out, watch out.
The therapeutic peanut paste they painstakingly produce here to strict global standards gives acutely malnourished children in Haiti the nutrients and calories they need to recover.
Is demand rising? Yes, significantly, yes. This is a crisis moment for Haiti.
The more that you have people are being displaced, the risk of food insecurity and people starving, kids especially, will increase.
UNICEF warns that deadly malnutrition in Haiti is being amplified by blocked roads, a collapsing healthcare system, pushing children to the brink.
We see the risk at a crowded clinic Tenor takes us to, where mothers line up with babies in their arms. More than 1 million children in Haiti now face life-threatening malnutrition. That's 1 in 4 trapped by violence, starvation, and a collapsing system that can't reach. On this day, one mother watches as her baby is measured, showing the initial signs of starvation. But she got here in time, and will go home with the therapeutic paste made just a few miles.
She will benefit from receiving the treatment.
It appeared to me by looking into her eyes that she was nervous.
It's always a disappointment if someone come and bring you bad news. But at the same time, I think what I see also is that hope in her eyes, because she knows that there's a place that she can go to get the nutrients that she needs for her child. If she continues to take the treatment as per the instructions, in 4 to 8 weeks, the child will get back to normal.
The paste stays shelf stable for 2 years without refrigeration. Critical in a country where the state electric company has collapsed and has power.
We have night and day shifts making sure that we build stocks for the malnourished children.
That allows them, Tenor says, to produce as many as 5,000 boxes per week.
How many people are working on producing 5,000 boxes?
15 to 60 people in total for the whole factory.
There's a final stage of an intricate production process now gets boxed up and Green Central places like Port-au-Prince where the need is really dire right now. Getting it there, that's a whole nother matter.
So as you can see, we have an amazing team that is really dedicated to what we do. And I want to spend my last couple of minutes and just tell you really about what I think makes what we do different and when I get an opportunity, whether it's to speak at a Rotary or a university at a conference, what I really champion, because I think it is the way forward. So let's go ahead and call the elephant in the room. Many times when I'm talking to people, they're like, look, when we're investing in developing countries, it's like, does anything ever change? Right? We were doing this yesterday, we're doing it today, we're doing it tomorrow. And what I tell people is, one of the things, so like we all, hopefully, we're all learning and growing and changing, right? The way that my mom raised me is different than the way I raised my kids. And I love my mama. Right? But we've learned a few things. We've grown along the way. We've figured out some things. And one of the things we have figured out over the years is that the model that is often used internationally when we're working in developing countries is one that really originated Let's jump back in time, post-World War II. We wanted two things. We wanted a world that was as safe and stable as we could make it. And those were our metrics. And we did a fantastic job at creating that world, right? Creating some stability. But what we didn't think about, maybe what we couldn't have thought about at that time, is that sometimes the things that create initial safety and stability aren't the things that transfer skills and empower people and give individuals the opportunity to grow, right? Going back to a kid analogy, I love my kids. I have a 2.5-year-old and a 12-year-old, and I make decisions better than both of them. I will probably live most of my life thinking I make decisions better than both of them, right? And I love them. And so what I want to do is every time they're facing something challenging, I want to be there to make that decision and help them get the best outcome possible. But we all know that unfortunately, that's done in the best of intentions. It doesn't always produce the results that we want, right? My little baby at some point needs to be able to say, Dad, I love you. And I might get a little bit of this wrong, but I'm going to figure it out, right? I'm going to grow. I'm going to learn. One of the things that we have found is that the many times we come into a situation, there's a crisis, we address that crisis, but then we stay. We're not there 6 months, we're not there 12 months, we're there 10 years, we're there 20 years, right? And we're there in a way that oftentimes, unfortunately, we focus on the outcomes. We don't focus on how do you build capacity? How do you create ownership, right? And this is something, right? We even face here in the States. Anyone who's ever owned a business says, gosh, I wish I could just get my employees to care about what my business like I do. We do that in Haiti. We work on not creating the solutions in Haiti, importing them. We work on how do we build capacity, create local ownership, right? Give those decision-making rights to our team on the ground. And when we do that, I'll share the one story and I'll be done because I know I'm going over. I apologize. We had earlier this year, UNICEF came to us and the government of Haiti, and they said, we've got all of these humanitarian supplies in country, and you guys have been telling us for months that they're stuck. And we believe you. They're stuck. We don't know what to do about it. And my team, because they're Haitian, right? They're on the ground. They said, yeah, but we do. So in September of this year, just a few months ago, our organization, my budget is the rounding error of these organizations, right? The big boys. My team stepped in and now we are doing all of the distribution of humanitarian aid and healthcare products. I mean, prenatal vitamins for moms, medicines, these treatments. We're doing that in half of the country of Haiti for all of the government clinics and all private clinics. You know why? Because we built capacity on the ground. And despite the gains and despite the challenges, the people on the ground have the solutions. And happy to have conversations later, or continue the conversation, but I just want to share that there's amazing opportunities to help those, our neighbors in need here and abroad. And we can look at ways of doing that in a way that helps build that capacity and partnership is when we actually see change, real change, sustainable change happen. So that being said, thank you very much. Apologize for going over. Thank you for having me.